There was a time when love felt simple. You believed her words without question. When she said forever, you took it as a promise, not a passing emotion. You thought loyalty was the natural response to love. That passion meant permanence. Back then, you gave freely, without hesitation, because the idea that love could be conditional never crossed your mind. You were happy in that innocence, convinced that if you loved her the right way, she would stay. Then came the first betrayal. Maybe she cheated, maybe she ghosted, maybe she replaced you so effortlessly it was like you never mattered. Whatever the form, the result was the same. The illusion cracked. You started noticing things you couldn't unsee. The way her words didn't match her actions. The way "I love you" one day could dissolve into indifference the next. The way her emotions seemed to shift with the wind, untethered from logic or commitment. You realized, painfully, that what she called love wasn't what you thought it was. For her, it was a feeling intense in the moment, but fleeting. For you, it was supposed to be a choice. The more you paid attention, the more patterns emerged. You saw how women could be obsessed with you one week and bored the next. How they could cry over losing you while already texting someone new. How their need for validation often outweighed their respect for loyalty. None of this made them evil, just human, shaped by a culture that taught them to prioritize emotional highs over stability. But that didn't make it hurt less. The hardest part wasn't the betrayal itself, it was the loss of the fantasy. You wanted to believe in love the way you once did, but now you knew too much. You couldn't unlearn what you'd seen. The fairy tale was dead, replaced by a colder, clearer understanding. Love, for most women, isn't about devotion. It's about how you make them feel in the moment. And feelings change. This realization didn't turn you bitter, just cautious. You stopped taking love at face value. You started watching actions instead of listening to words. The innocence was gone, and in its place was something heavier. Wisdom. You didn't hate her, you just couldn't worship her anymore. The pedestal had crumbled, and with it, your ability to love blindly. Now, when you meet a woman, you see her through a filter of experience. You notice the subtle tests, the push-pull games, the way her interest fluctuates based on your emotional unavailability rather than your worth. You understand that her attraction isn't about your character, it's about the energy you project. And while that knowledge makes you powerful, it also makes love feel less sacred. You don't miss the pain. But sometimes you miss the naivety, the version of you who could love without hesitation. That man is gone. In his place is someone wiser, sharper, and undeniably alone. Because once you see the truth, you can't pretend otherwise. And that's the price of awakening. The deeper you dive into understanding female desire, the clearer it becomes. Women don't fall in love with logic, they're drawn to emotional experience. It's not about who you are, but how you make them feel. You've seen it firsthand. The guy who checks every box on paper gets ignored, while the one who triggers excitement, even unpredictability, commands her attention. This isn't manipulation, it's biology meeting conditioning. Society teaches women that love should feel like a storm, intense, out-consuming, unsustainable. Stability is labeled boring, while emotional roller coasters are mistaken for passion. You start recognizing the patterns, how her attraction spikes when you're focused on your purpose, not her. How she tests you just to feel your emotional strength. How nice guys finish last, not because they're kind, but because they seek approval instead of setting boundaries. Female desire thrives on polarity, the push and pull between masculine resolve and feminine emotion. When you cater to her every whim, she loses respect. When you remain unshaken, she leans in. But here's the twist. Once you master this dance, love starts feeling hollow. You know how to spark attraction, but the games feel tiresome. You see through the scripts, the manufactured drama, the false vulnerability, the way modern dating rewards performance over authenticity. Women claim to want honesty, yet often chase men who keep them guessing. They confuse anxiety for chemistry, mistaking your emotional control for indifference. The painful truth? Many women don't actually want what they say they want. They crave the fantasy of a good man, but respond to the thrill of the unattainable. And once you see this, you can't unsee it. You stop resenting the game, but you can't play it with your whole heart anymore. The moment true understanding settles in, something inside you shifts forever. You no longer react, you observe. Her tears, her tantrums, her sudden bursts of affection, they no longer trigger panic or pride in you, just quiet recognition. You've seen this movie before. You know the script by heart. When she pulls away, to test your chase reflex, you don't bite. When she floods you with attention, after days of silence, you don't mistake it for genuine connection. You've become fluent in the unspoken language of female behavior, and ironically, this fluency makes genuine connection harder to find. There's a new loneliness that comes with this awareness. You walk into rooms and immediately see the games. Woman who touches your arm while scanning the room for better options. The one who talks about emotional maturity but thrives on drama. The one who mistakes your stillness for disinterest. Where other men see mystery, you see predictable patterns. Where they feel passion, you recognize emotional hooks. You don't judge her for this. You understand it's how she's wired, but the magic of not knowing has evaporated. The cruelest irony. The more you master emotional detachment, the more women chase you. Your indifference becomes the ultimate aphrodisiac. proving everything you've learned about female desire. But now when they come close, you feel nothing but a quiet sadness. You know their attraction isn't to you, just to the version of you that doesn't need them. So you stand there, perfectly capable of playing the game, but unable to forget it. Is a game. The price of seeing through the illusion is that you can never fully believe in it again. The awakening leads you to an unexpected destination. Solitude becomes sanctuary, not the bitter loneliness of rejection, but the profound peace of self-possession. You stop craving validation because you've discovered something far more valuable: your own wholeness. The chaotic dance of modern romance no longer tempts you. You've learned the hard way that most women aren't running toward love, but running from themselves. Their fleeting attention, their hot and cold behavior, their addiction to emotional spikes. You recognize it all as symptoms of an inner void they expect men to fill, but you're done being an emotional bandage. Your energy is reserved for those rare women who've done their own work, who understand that real connection requires two complete people choosing each other daily. These women don't test you because they're secure. They don't play games because they value authenticity over the cheap thrill of the chase. When you encounter one, you'll know not by butterflies, but by the quiet certainty that settles in your bones. Until then, you build. Your purpose becomes your primary relationship. Your boundaries become non-negotiable. This is where most men falter. They mistake your self-containment for aloofness, your standards for arrogance. Let them. You've graduated from seeking love to embodying it. The right woman won't need to break down your walls. She'll recognize they exist to protect the sacred space where true connection can finally grow. And if she never comes, you've already found what most spend lifetimes chasing: the unshakable peace of a man who needs nothing outside himself, but chooses companionship from a place of abundance, not lack. The final stage of masculine awakening arrives not with fireworks, but with quiet resolve. You no longer rage against the contradictions of modern love, you simply refuse to participate in them. Women's shifting emotions no longer shake your foundation. You've built your inner world to solid for that. When she accuses you of being closed off, you smile knowingly. She mistakes your discernment for detachment, your boundaries for barriers. The truth is, you've never been more capable of love, real love. The kind that doesn't bargain or beg. You've stopped explaining yourself. Let her call you unfeeling when you won't engage in pointless drama. Let her label you arrogant when you walk away from mixed signals. These judgments reveal more about her emotional immaturity than your character. The right woman won't need you to justify your peace, she mirror it. Until then, you operate from a simple principle: love must amplify your life, not complicate it. This isn't cynicism, it's clarity. You still believe in connection, but only the kind that feels like two whole souls choosing each other daily. The games, the tests, the emotional turbulence of modern dating, you've outgrown them. When a woman truly ready for depth appears, she'll find you not chasing, not performing, but standing firm in the quiet power of a man who's finally learned to love without losing himself. And that's the ultimate victory.